Happy New Year and welcome to the latest edition of Up the Ladder podcast. I am Dr. Doug Endel, and every month it's my goal to walk you through the latest health tactic, interesting program, or interview someone who's bringing you the best health advice right now to help you climb the ladder of health. It's a new year and I'm very excited about what we've got in store for you. Each month I'm going to be doing a podcast where I'll start to dissect a topic, whether it's heart rate variability or heart rate training, or today we're going to be talking about the top supplements that I am taking and recommend for people jumping into a new health program, which so many people are this time of year. And the second half of the month, I'm going to be interviewing the person that we have at a live event that we'll be hosting each month. That event is called Up Level Uptown because we're hosting it in Uptown Westerville. At a really amazing place where we'll be able to have an in-person event because it's large enough that we can all safely do that. The one coming up in January, we'll be hosting Heidi Negron. She's an amazing fitness instructor who I've gotten to know really well over the last couple of years. I love her work and what she's doing and her approach to health and fitness. And so she's going to be leading our very first workshop that we've got. It will consist of a 30 to 45 minute workout, which will be good for any level of fitness, whether you're getting started or you have pretty good fitness level. This will be a workout that will be great, especially in January, to get out of the house, see some new faces. Everything will be socially distanced and compliant with all of the regulations right now. However, it's a new year, and so we need to start living again, and we are going to try to start hosting some in-person events very safely, but we're really excited to launch that and get that. So the goal for Up the Level podcast is going to be 2 podcasts a month, one where I'll be doing the talking and one where I'll be interviewing someone. And so, like I said, we're really excited about that. Today I want to talk about a couple amazing supplements that I'm personally taking, and that as I'm talking with people about starting new exercise programs and what to take and what not to take. Right now it's the beginning of the year and it's winter, so a lot of people are talking about immune health. Some of these are related to that, but most of them are going to be more geared towards overall health, longevity, and improving your workouts as you start into, most of you, probably a new program, or at least continuing that program. The first one I want to talk about is called berberine. This is an herb, a Chinese herb that's been around for a really, really long time, mostly in India and China. I have been taking this for at least 6 months now, and I really like it. It's fantastic for conditions such as cardiovascular disease, GI disorders, neurodegenerative. My biggest reason for taking it and why I recommend it to a lot of other people is the metabolic dysfunction. So what I mean by that is blood glucose regulation, insulin sensitivity, how your body handles glucose metabolism, and in general metabolic health. So I really like berberine for this. There's been a lot of research done about the cardiovascular effects, but also the blood sugar effects. And so I'm going to be going through some research on this, so forgive me as I look at my notes as I'm doing this. However, I want to make sure I'm giving you the right stats related to the right conditions and products on this. So looking at overall cardiovascular health, there are some benefits with berberine against hypertension and congestive heart failure. The biggest difference though has to do with cholesterol, LDL, HDL, triglycerides, total cholesterol. One specific study looked at taking 500 milligrams versus a placebo twice a day for 3 months. This was a really well done study, and there was really significant weight loss and improvements in total cholesterol, triglycerides, LDL, HDL, compared to the control group in this. So that was 500 milligrams twice a day for 3 months. I've been taking that dosage for quite some time, more for blood sugar balancing. In my family, we've got a history of diabetes, type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular. And so this year, I'm going to be diving really, really deep into metabolic health and blood sugar. In fact, something that you'll be seeing soon is I just got a continuous glucose monitor, and that just arrived, so I can't wait to unbox that and dive into that. But I'm going to be going through my story of how I'm using that, what I'm using it for, what my data is telling me, and how you can use that for yourself. But metabolic health, and especially blood sugar, is going to be a huge, huge focus for us, and I am pro berberine for this. So there's been a long time use of berberine for diabetics and people with high blood sugars, people who are pre-diabetic, and there's a lot of articles out there comparing berberine to metformin, which is one of the most commonly prescribed medications for type 2 diabetes. And one of the biggest things is that berberine and metformin both use the same pathways in regulating blood glucose levels. The research is really varied and wide-ranging in the dosage of this. So a lot of times there's anywhere from 0.5 to 1.5 grams in 2 or 3 doses per day. And all the different trials range from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. All of them do show a benefit and difference in blood glucose regulation. And so this is where it really becomes a matter of your specific situation and how much and when to take berberine, I think. And so there's also been a lot of evidence lately about taking metformin and its reduction of the benefits of exercise. And since these two, berberine and metformin, follow the same pathways, the same would apply. So the way I take it is I do not take it right after or right before exercise. I space it out from the exercise. And that way, if there are any negative effects to taking berberine in the benefits of exercise. So let me clarify that. Exercise has benefits, metabolic benefits, especially at reducing insulin sensitivity. There's been some recent evidence about berberine and metformin, because they follow the same pathways, that these molecules could reduce those benefits of exercise. And clearly, we don't want to spend our time doing something positive like exercise and then take something that would mitigate those benefits. And so I think timing is really important with this. That's why I don't take my berberine anywhere near the times that I am exercising. And so that way I'm hoping to maximize the benefits of berberine while also maximizing the effects of doing some exercise. So if you have specific questions, I would be happy to help you, guide you on when and how much berberine to take based on what your fitness is when you're exercising. Obviously, if you're not exercising, what I would recommend would be the 500 milligrams twice a day, as long as there are no contraindications to any other medications that you are already taking. The next supplement I want to talk about is getting a ton of press right now, and that's vitamin C. Of course, we know vitamin C is phenomenal for immune health. It's fantastic this time of year and fighting colds and viruses. And so I'm not going to go into the benefits, although they are huge benefits. There's a lot of research, and I'm happy to share that with you around lung health and colds and viruses and flus. I'm going to stick to the longevity and, again, how this affects what you're doing when you're exercising. So it's a really essential nutrient. More importantly, it's got really, really high antioxidant properties of it. It's really widely found in a lot of different fruits and vegetables, obviously more citrus fruits. I was surprised to learn that the highest vitamin C, a lot of times people correlate vitamin C with oranges. However, the highest concentrations of vitamin C are actually found in kiwis, bell peppers, and guavas. So, little interesting tidbit on vitamin C. You do not just have to have an orange to get your daily dose of vitamin C. I also learned a lot about absorption of vitamin C as I was researching this, and over the last couple of months really looking at vitamin C. The absorption, plasma levels of vitamin C, how to maximize those, taking oral vitamin C versus an IV vitamin C. And so I want to briefly go through some of that. The max that you're going to see blood volume wise is about, right around 200 millimolars per deciliter when you're taking it orally. So when you're taking the vitamin C tablet orally, that'll get your blood concentrations to about 200 if you're taking anywhere around 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams at one time. And so you'll see kind of a spike of that blood plasma vitamin C levels, and then that goes down again. And so the best way to maximize your daily blood volume of vitamin C concentration is basically to take about 3,000 milligrams or 3 grams every 4 to 6 hours. That is going to keep your blood volume levels of vitamin C more consistent through the day so you don't see a big spike and where you get the benefits. So I would say if you're going to use it for any kind of immune boosting reasons, then that's going to be really important to take it not super high doses at one time, but more moderate doses more consistently, like I said, 4 to 6 times throughout the day. I have been taking some IVs, which we've got later this month. I go down to Hydrate Me in Grandview, and I've been playing around with their immunity drips, which has vitamin C in it, and I've also been playing around with just taking higher dose vitamin C's every couple of weeks intravenously. And so when you take it through IV, you don't have to deal with what your body can absorb at one time or digest. And so you're going to see tremendously 1,000 times higher, in some cases, levels of plasma concentrations of vitamin C when you're taking it in an IV versus orally. And so depending on what your goals are, that might be something to take a look at. Like I said, later this month in January, we're going to be hosting Hydrate Me in the office for an afternoon where you can come in and you can get a vitamin C and vitamin D drip. You can get their immunity drip. They've got a ton of different options with that. And so I encourage you to come check it out. I've really enjoyed and have noticed the benefits of getting an IV drip. And so, I'm trying to share with you as much as I can about what I'm doing and what I'm learning. And so, I'm like I said, I'm really enjoying the drips that I've gotten. How does this have to do with exercise? So very similar to what we talked about with berberine. It's great at reducing inflammation, and when you exercise, you create something called oxidative stress and free radicals. And as an antioxidant, vitamin C is really great at combating those. The same sort of talk can benefit though. Those two things also show some benefits to the body, specifically in relation to, again, insulin sensitivity. And so there's kind of varying evidence of showing that reducing the oxidative stress and reducing the free radicals it can mitigate some of the insulin sensitivity benefits, reducing insulin sensitivity in with exercise. So we don't want to reduce those. So I think taking everything into factor, timing and dosage, as with most of these things, is going to be vitally important. I'm pro vitamin C. I think the immune benefits right now, especially in the wintertime, are outweigh any drawbacks that you would see correlated with exercise. But I think timing is really critical to that. The next supplement that I want to talk about is creatine. I got into really looking at and supplementing with creatine when I was training for my climbing event last spring and summer. And so I got to doing a lot of interesting research on creatine. Essentially, your body does make creatine, and when you eat meat, you're also eating some creatine. However, most of the time you hear about creatine, it has to do with people supplementing with creatine. And so creatine acts as a cellular energy reserve. So when you're exercising, when there's an increase in intense demand for energy, creatine aids in basically removing phosphate from and adding it to ADP to make ATP. And this is just going to basically increase the amount of energy that you have and is available while you're exercising. It's not great for long periods of time, but it's really great for improving short duration exercises. That's why it's most commonly used with people who are lifting weights, because that's short bursts of exercise. It's also been, again, heavily researched on lowering blood lipids and improving glycemic control. So one study has shown, looking at adults between the ages of 32 and 70 who had high cholesterol, so over 200, they supplemented with 5 grams of creatine a day, and within 2 months saw a really significant reduction in total blood cholesterol, triglycerides, a 22% reduction in VLDL, which is the worst cholesterol. So 22% is really a huge difference in that. People with diabetes, again, taking 5 grams for just 3 months, saw a significantly reduced A1C and overall reduced blood glucose numbers. So I'm pro creatine. Number one, it helps with athletic performance, especially anything strength-based. But the overall benefits of reducing cholesterol and the glycemic control as it's doing that are huge. There's a ton of research on creatine with pregnancy, cognitive performance, depression, neurodegenerative diseases, using it as a treatment for traumatic brain injury. And so the list kind of goes on and on creatine. The drawbacks are extremely negligible with creatine. Obviously, if you have kidney disease or anything serious conditions like that, you want to make sure that you're consulting a doctor before you begin supplementing with anything, but especially creatine. Typically, you're going to recommend anywhere from 2 to 5 grams a day of creatine. I usually take 3 to 5. Ideally, that would be broken up into 2 different, taking it 2 different times through the day. However, I usually just take it a little bit before I work out. And I think that there's a lot of really significant benefits from doing that. The next thing we're going to talk about is taking a daily multivitamin. I think this is huge. I remember years ago taking a nutritional neurology class, and the guy really talking a ton about research saying that people who just take a multivitamin every day statistically will live to be roughly 7 years longer than those who don't take it. I'm pro multivitamin, and I think specifically in this case, in all of these cases, but really with multivitamins, what you're taking, the quality of what you're taking makes all the difference in the world. What I personally take is something called MitoCore from a company called Orthomolecular. It's basically, again, I'm all about focusing on mitochondrial health. And so this is going to be chock full of things, vitamins, minerals, that are promoting how well my metabolic health is functioning, as well as having just covering the array of other vitamins and minerals that just to support your body in general. Some of the highlights that are related for mitochondrial health are the acetyl L-carnitine, which is an amino acid and is associated with recharging cellular energy production. So it helps free fatty acids so that your body can utilize them, which is the major fuel source for mitochondria, and is going to show a really big energy boost as you're doing this. It's also fantastic at lowering oxidative stress. So a lot of what we're talking about is lowering oxidative stress, which, if you have general stress, if you have fatigue, anything that's going to be causing inflammation is related to oxidative stress. And so a lot of this stuff is all just trying to counteract and counterbalance that. Now, again, a majority of that should be done through diet. However, these are things that I take as kind of a safety net because, quality of food has gone down over the last 100 years. The way everything is processed right now really strips a lot of your food of vitamins and minerals. For some of you, the medications that you're on are going to be robbing your body of essential nutrients that you need. And so doing something like this will make a really big benefit. So we talked about acetyl L-carnitine. N-acetylcysteine as another antioxidant, which helps get rid of free radicals. It promotes glutathione, which is your body's natural detoxification system and pathway. It contains resveratrol, which again, another antioxidant, great at improving cardiovascular health and immune health. It's got broccoli seed extract, which is a precursor to something called sulforaphane, if I'm saying that correctly. But sulforaphane is an antioxidant that is fantastic. It's one of the top ones at producing detoxification, specifically phase 2 detoxification and increasing your body's intracellular glutathione levels. And so, again, I don't want to get too far into technical terms, but that's how well your liver and your body can detox all of the exposure to toxins that we're around on a daily basis. It's got green tea extract, which again, probiotic, immune supporting, antioxidant, and again, really high on the detoxification. Like I said, it's got these 4 or 5 major things, but it's got all of your main other vitamins. It's got a lot of really great other trace minerals in it. Again, this is the multi that I take. Of course, there's other multivitamins that are good out there. However, do not just go to Walmart to get your multivitamin or, the 1 a day Centrum sort of multivitamin. That stuff has definitely been shown to not be absorbed and is chocked full of a bunch of other crap that you probably do not want in your system. And so do your research before you just start taking a multi. It's just as important as like a fish oil and understanding what's in it and where those products are coming from. The next thing I want to talk about is helping with sleep. So something else that we'll be talking about this year is sleep. And so not only how to track it, but how to improve it. Sleep is so important to restore your body. And if you're going to be working out and you're trying to, let your body recover, sleep is vitally important. How much you get and the quality of sleep that you get are extremely important. When you go to sleep, all of that makes a huge difference. And so supporting in a healthy way the rest that you're getting, I think is super important. One way that I do that is something called Valerian Complex, which has valerian root, passion flower, and I believe it's jujube. But this is something that we carry in the office from MediHerb. It's fantastic at just reducing overall tension. It's great at to help you fall asleep. It just promotes relaxation. And then, just kind of helps calm your mind and your body before you go to bed. Typically what I'll do is 1 or 2 after dinner, kind of in that between dinner and bedtime, when I'm trying to kind of calm down anyways and start to think about heading to bed. I'll take a couple of these and it just helps me get to sleep. I don't have trouble getting to sleep, but the sleep that I get is more restful. I'm able to get into some deeper stages of sleep with taking this. People who have recommended this too, who do have trouble getting to sleep because their mind is racing all of the time, this has been really beneficial and helpful to them. So this is one of those hidden gems that I recommend to people. And last but not least, another kind of interesting one that you might not suspect that I'm all for with managing overall health, and especially the effects of exercise and maximizing that, is going to be vitamin D and K2. So vitamin D, mostly vitamin D, of course vitamin D immune system wise is vitally important, especially in the winter time in Ohio or any northern states where we're not seeing as much sunshine right now. Vitamin D is important. However, most people don't know how connected vitamin D is to hormone production. Vitamin D is a huge precursor to a lot of different hormones. And so as you're going through the rhythms of your monthly cycle, as you're going through, which men and women are both going to experience, as you're going through your rhythms of the yearly cycle, I think vitamin D plays a really big important in that. So you're looking at hormone levels, you're looking at promoting bone health, and then again, immune system regulation, super important. Mentally, vitamin D makes a really big difference. There's been a lot of articles out recently about vitamin D and people who have a lower vitamin D status not being able to perform as mentally well and in recall, like I'm doing right now, but also they're able to process information more slowly as in correlation with how low their vitamin D levels were. Now, vitamin D is one of those things that it's really hard to overdo it with vitamin D. However, how much you take, it's easy to test for D, and you should use your own levels and recommending how much vitamin D to be taking. Right now, it's wintertime, so I'm taking a lot more vitamin D. However, in the next week or two, I'll also be getting my blood levels tested, so I know if I need to increase or decrease that. That's something that I can order for you. You take the script into LabCorp, and we'll get your vitamin D levels back. Typically, I'm regularly recommending anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 IUs per day. Again, sometimes that'll be up to 10,000 if someone is really vitamin D deficient. I think that's extremely important right now, is knowing your vitamin D status because of so many other risk factors immune-wise. And so I think knowing your levels, where you're at, and getting a plan together around how much D to take should be very important. So whether you want me to order that script for you, I'm happy to talk with you and help you with that, or at least talk with your medical doctor if you're going to be scheduling something in the near future to get blood work done. Have him check your vitamin D levels and adjust how much you're taking accordingly. I take a liquid form of that, which has K2 in it, where 1 drop is 1,000 IUs. I would not want to take 3,000 to 10,000 IUs in a tablet or capsule form. I hate tablets and capsules, and that would be taking a ton of those. And so it's really easy for me just to put a couple of drops in a small glass of water, and down the hatch it goes. It's also important that as you're taking your D, to include K2 with it, especially for any vegetarians or vegans out there. K2 has really become kind of a lot more researched and well known in the last couple of years. The highest concentrations of K2 are in your brain. And so it prevents free radical damage to neurons, and it also protects the myelin sheath. So that's how nerves communicate with each other. And K2 is phenomenal at helping to promote that. And so taking those two things in conjunction helps the absorption of that and helps the brain and everything else related to vitamin D. So those are my top takeaways and what I'm taking right now and what I'm recommending, my top recommendations for other people. Of course, there's a million things, stress-wise right now. We could have done a whole podcast on what to take for stress and how to manage that, which Angela and I believe have done a couple episodes ago. And so if you have any questions at all about, what your current situation is, what you should be taking, how much, do I have any recommendations based on your specific needs, I'm happy to do that. Just reach out, no problem. Also, don't forget, we've got Up Level, Uptown coming up in a couple of weeks, our first edition of that. We're extremely excited for. I think those dates, that date is going to be Thursday, January 21st at 6:30. You can register online. You can register by calling into the office, and we'll get you all set up and give you all of the details. But that's something that we are extremely excited about. And so stay tuned again as we chat with, for the next episode, as we chat with Heidi Negron about all things fitness and what she's doing and what she's recommending right now, learn a little bit more about her. But thank you for listening. I'm so excited for what we've got in store for this year, and I sincerely appreciate you being part of our Up the Ladder community. Take care.